Greetings everyone, Cameron McCasland here, just doing a video response for the top 5 films I don't feel that are appreciated enough. Just got a couple of movies here I want to run by you, get your take on them. If you got something to say about these because you've seen them or after you watch them, just leave me a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on that particular thing, or if you've got a different list of movies that you want to tell me about, post them below or do a video response. First up is Night of the Hunter from 1955. This was directed by Charles Laughton. This was the only movie that he ever directed. He's, of course, very well known for his role in like Mutiny on the Bounty. He actually even won an Oscar for Private Life of Henry VIII, way back, probably about 20 or 30 years before this movie got made. Very cool movie. In one regard, I would say it is somewhat appreciated. The love-hate on the knuckles, this is where that comes from this, as you can see right here on the box art. Robert Mitchum plays this beautifully. He's a preacher who is basically seeking out this fortune. You have a guy who stole a bunch of money, hid it. He tells his kids, or at least Robert Mitchum thinks he's told his kids where the money's at. Whenever he's hauled off to jail, they've got this crazy mother who is just a mess. Robert Mitchum comes in as a preacher to save their souls, basically. But all he really wants to get is the money out of these children. So it's just very haunting. Scary, scary guy. This is really kind of a precursor to a lot of, I would even say, the early slasher films where he just stalks and stalks in somewhat of a, Freddy Krueger-like sense. There's a whole lot of touch of like German expressionism, film noir in this with the cinematography. It's stark black and white, very beautiful, something to check out. If you've never seen it, I do highly recommend it, Night of the Hunter. Next up is another night movie, Night of the Lepus, which is from 1972. Stars Janet Leigh, better known from her Psycho days with Alfred Hitchcock. Also has Deforest Kelly of the original Star Trek. The guy who directed this was WIlliam Claxton, who basically he did a whole lot of TV, did stuff like Bonanza, things like that. He actually did one of my favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone, which is I Sing the Body Electric. He did a couple more episodes, but of the 4 or 5 that he did, that's probably my favorite thing that he did. This movie is about giant mutant rabbits chasing people across the countryside, and you have this group of people that are trying to stop them. The trailer for this is great. I'm sure it's probably up here on YouTube. You can check it out, but you can see all these like eyeballs on the cover. It's incredibly hokey, but if you're a fan of just funny monster movies or things that go bump in the night, as they say, check that movie out. It's definitely something worth seeing. Next up is Cloak and Dagger from 1984 with Dabney, Coleman, and Henry Thomas, who, of course, like if you grew up in the 1980s, you probably remember from E.T. He played Elliot, in that movie, which is fabulous in itself. But Henry Thomas also done a lot of really great stuff in the last couple of years. He does do a lot of TV, like I think like CSI or Without a Trace, things like that, and was in Suicide Kings, which has been, I think that was late 90s. So doing a lot of good stuff though. Definitely worth checking out. This movie's something you're not going to see again. I would call it a kids movie. It all takes place in Texas. There's shots of the Alamo, which are pretty awesome. And like you have this weird like old lady with this, I don't want to give too much away, but there's this deformed hand in it, which I don't think would have probably got past censors today. Also, there's like the slaying of, you've got this guy who owns this video game shop, and they just kill him absolutely in cold blood. This movie was directed by, I think, Richard Franklin, who kind of, the only other thing that I think I've really ever seen that he did was Psycho 2. He got to start in like early softcore pornography stuff like eroticon and phantasm, not the phantasm with the silver ball, but the phantasm spelled with an F, which is, I think, had John Holmes in it and everything else. So kind of low brow, but that's where he got his chops. And it's kind of funny where you can go from like softcore pornography to what is pretty much a children's title, but at the same time, I watched this when I was a kid, but I don't know that, this would be considered a kid's movie anymore today. Next up is a movie from 1987, Empire of the Sun, which doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. Speaking of E.T. and Spielberg, this is, a Spielberg movie. And I think the reason I say this is because it is, widely known, but of all his World War II efforts, I think this is the one that doesn't get the most appreciation. I'm really glad I saw this whenever I was a lot younger, just because now Christian Bale being, post-Batman and all the things that he's done, and I love Christian Bale. I think he's a great actor, but I'm glad I saw this first, because I think it would be hard if you haven't seen this. It's going to be hard to watch this, because the whole time you're going to be thinking, that guy grew up to be Batman, and, yell at that guy about his lights or whatever. So anything, I don't know. It's like it's just easier for me. This also has Malkovich in it, which is always a good thing. Basically, this kid's almost goes feral, as like he loses his family and they're locked up in this camp during the war. Before I got married, my roommate Josiah used to watch this frequently, and kind of just made me fall in love with it from that. I had seen it when I was a kid, but I guess I never really appreciated it that much. So check this out. Last but not least is Chungking Express from 1994, if you can see that. This is the Miramax box with the Tarantino stuff. It's got some extra features. Criterion just put this out again, so it's worth seeking out. I'm probably going to pick that up on Blu-ray at some point, but for now, this is what I got. Chungking Express is a movie about Wong-Kar, and first time I saw it, I just absolutely fell in love with it. I can honestly say I'll probably never hear the song California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas again without thinking of that movie. Got this weird two stories. You've got these different cops who've lost their girlfriends, and they're kind of just seeking, reason in their life. Very cool movie. It's all, it's foreign language film. Hope that doesn't scare anybody off. But this, I think you can probably find fairly cheap at this point for this DVD, and the Criterion's probably not more than $20 or $25. But definitely worth picking up. He's done a lot of great stuff, before this and since then. That's worth checking out. But I would say if you've never seen any Wong-Kar, that's where I would start. Anyways, that's my top 5 movies that I guess, I don't feel like get appreciated enough or don't get talked about enough, either because the people who did them did other things that were greater, or just because, I guess they've just got lost in the shuffle over the years. Hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, again, leave me a comment below. Let me, tell me your thoughts on these movies, or post a video response with that. Also, if you want to see more of all these DVDs I've got back here, hit subscribe up here. I'm going to try to do a couple more of these videos and kind of talk up, some specific things that I like or hate. And if you've got any questions or want to know, hey Cameron, what's your top 5 this, or who'd you like in this, go ahead and ask me. I've probably got it back here at some point. Anyways, hope you guys are all good. I'll catch you next time. Later.